If you've watched any of my videos on this channel, you may have heard me talking about schizoid personality disorder in a critical sense, and pointing out that it doesn't account for the internal subjective experience of someone with schizoid dynamics and schizoid traits or schizoid adaptations, but rather focuses on descriptive behaviours, therefore not giving the full picture of what internally takes place in someone who has schizoid dynamics. Having said that, I still think that schizoid personality disorder, the term schizoid personality disorder, has its place, because schizoid dynamics exists on a spectrum. So people are affected to different levels of severity in their functioning. There's some people that are highly functioning who can mask well, or who can adapt socially to the point where they can pass in society as normal on the surface. But then the version of schizoid personality disorder, as outlined by the DSM, more reflects people who are struggling to function, who haven't really adapted well enough to fit into society and find a place there. And I think that those people need to be represented. The one problem is with that is that the DSM version does suggest that the people who are on the far end of the spectrum in terms of really not functioning and fitting in with society don't want to have relationships with other people, and there are a percentage of people in that category who have adapted to a solitary life or adapted to not having intimate relationships and feel comfortable with that. So it's not to say that everybody in the category that the DSM outlines is suffering, but there are a percentage of people who are suffering. Also, I think an important reason why we should keep the DSM-5 version of schizoid personality disorder is because it's one of the main ways that people with schizoid dynamics and adaptations might find out the terminology that they need linked to their condition. So although they might not exactly fit the descriptors of the DSM-5, and some do, that just having the word schizoid there is an indicator of the sort of traits involved, and it could lead somebody to getting a schizoid diagnosis, maybe through a psychoanalytic path, maybe through therapy. And even if they do have a lesser version, there can still be some issues and difficulties that they're working through that need to be identified. The other thing is that I think that the DSM-5 schizoid personality disorder category does involve other people who may not have schizoid dynamics, such as people with autism, and some people who suffer from extreme or acute social anxiety, such as in the case of avoidant personality disorder. And it helps them to identify aspects of their functioning in terms of living a solitary life, and the fact that they are having difficulties in forming relationships. And although it might be for different reasons than the individual with schizoid dynamics, at the end of the day, the manifestations are similar. So that does put us in a similar category in terms of attitude to relationships. So I think that the term schizoid personality disorder shouldn't be dismissed and that it has its place. But it would be good if we could talk more about schizoid dynamics and schizoid adaptations so that people can get a broader view of the spectrum and know that the DSM-5 indicators, although they do have their place, are just part of the picture, and there's a lot more in-depth going on beneath the surface.